I'm that girl who wants to ask you about your day yesterday and how did it go? What did you do? Think about, did you sing? Did you dance? Did you skip? Did you create fairy tales in your mind? And did you make wishes? Did you play dress up? What did you do with your day? And how did you use all your choices? And the reason why I'm asking this is because most of us will say, well, nothing, Joe. We didn't do any of that sort of nonsense. We're adults. And the reality is, well, we were all very fluent at doing that naturally, freely. And we completely mastered all of those things when we were sort of 5. And we were very capable of singing and dancing and drawing and just, being our best versions of ourselves as we were, mostly ideally free to be who we are and be free to be naturally expressing ourselves the way that we choose and want. And, ideally, if we had been in that sort of nature nurturing experience, we were given all of the opportunities to be able to do that, right? So even if we weren't, ultimately, we could have easily just started singing. Instead of talking, we could have just been singing songs all day, chatting to our imaginary friends if we had any, talking to birds, talking to animals, talking to nature. We would all just be completely away with the fairies, and we were with the fairies and quite literally. And then we sort of lose our way. So where did we go? Where did you go? What sort of stopped you from doing all those things that gave you the profound joy? When did you stop sort of dancing when you heard a little catchy beat? Sometimes I found myself dancing and singing away at the supermarket, and I think, gosh, this is very strange, isn't it? Almost antisocial to be dancing and singing away at the supermarket aisles, living my best shopping life. But it's interesting, isn't it, how we sort of think, oh, that's right, we shouldn't be doing that. We're adults. So what are we longing for? What is our inner child begging us to do to be able to raise our frequency vibrations? Because I think if we all record what we naturally love to do, and without limiting ourselves and thinking, oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Imagine if someone saw me having fun. Oh dear, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? All the neighbors would talk. So ultimately, we want to have fun, right? We want to raise our vibrations. We want to shake off the limitations of our social constructs that we've put on ourselves and what we think others are putting on ourselves. Imagine if we started inspiring people to just live up life, dance a little bit, have fun, laugh, not take things so seriously. And it seems like, unfortunately, when we start learning the information that we get privy to hear from the sessions, you sort of start taking life a little bit more seriously, and it sort of feels like a lot of responsibility. And while, yes, that is one perspective and one option we can take with it, we also need to be able to have the balance and the sort of the neutral stance on it. I know I have myself put way too much pressure and responsibilities on myself, and felt really stressed and overwhelmed as I've been trying to get more information to be able to understand it, to prepare myself and others for what is coming. And that can look like a real lot of different things that I can do to my body. I can really put lots of tension and strain and stress on my back. And, it can be quite some time before I realize, wait a minute, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to notice? And then I can either intuitively ask what's going on there, or ask in a session when they're giving me a body scan and helping assist. And it's easy for us all to hold on to tension, just like it's easy for all of us to hold on to shit. Now, brace yourself. This is a potty conversation for real this time. So a lot of people are experiencing, for one reason or another, constipation, right? Where you're literally holding your shit together. You're literally holding other people's shit for them. And you're not wanting to let go of the shit. So I know it's crass, it's very number 2 humor, but it's not humor at all when we are carrying emotions, and it is toxic for our bodies, right? So, or is it? Because lots of people can hold other people's shit just like we hold, we listen to our friends having meltdowns about 3D, right? They're trying to prepare themselves for a nuclear war, right? So we're trying to listen to their wish list of all of their shopping demands that they need to buy, upgrade the family car to a tank, all of those things that they think are really valid options to keep them safe. So there's that. So we can listen to our friends with much love as they're trying to prepare themselves for World War III. And instead of, going into the fear with them and stressing out with them and starting to be like, oh, can you order me one of those tanks too? Yeah, the luxury version style, thanks. Really economical for the shopping trips, right? So you'll always find a park. Anyway, sorry, I'm in one of those moods today. It's Friday. So what they are wanting us to remember is that when we're talking to our friends, while we can sympathize for them and support them and love them, we can't shake them out of their fear of the war, because what if this is them learning how to empower themselves out of this fear? So we can just love them and support them without going, you're still listening to mainstream media, how adorable for you, but also how incredibly challenging and toxic that is for you as well, because that's only exposing you to fear. And if you need to release fear and you're still addicted to fear, probably that's a really good option for you to be doing, right? Watching the news, because it drops you down to that density. And at some point you realize it's exhausting, or it never occurred, as they were always threatening you. And so, at one point or another, you are awakened. And often if you've got lots of trauma from other lifetimes, including being in a war, you'll be triggered to experience this. You'll be guided to go down that emotional roller coaster again, to be able to heal from it, drop down to that density, experience the density in that new perspective, not really being in the war zone as such, and just be there. So interesting. And I know that we've said this before, I've said this before, everything's purposeful and super significant, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, they are not kidding. They're not kidding around when they say everything's purposeful. So for some people I know, they're holding emotional trauma and shit from other people, but it's not impacting them because they're not digesting it. It's like they've already digested the food and they're just holding on to that density in the bowels, right? So it's not actually making them sick. They're not actually getting toxic from a lot of bowels being full. Some people, though, however, have those emotions, have that density, and then feel the density of the emotions and react in the range of emotions. And that's when they become, if they don't release their shit, they can actually become assholes. And, not let go of shit. And so that's emotional and physical. So often, we've heard this in sessions before, right? How if you want healing and you've overgrown something, can overcome something, but you don't know the journey of what you're unpacking, say, for example, the war, right? So you've accidentally stumbled into that density and you've overcome it and you're raising yourself and you've released it, but you don't consciously know you've unpacked that work and identified that work and healed from that work. What you will notice physically, though, is you may be getting lots of diarrhea. And so you're physically releasing all of that density, all of that trauma. So lots of people don't understand how energy can be emotions as well as a physical matter. And so, that's because we're so dense and we're so physical that we create and transmute our emotions into physical blocks. So, makes lots of sense when they talk about it in sessions. And so just wanted to confirm to lots of people who are wondering why they are not regular. First of all, some of the medicines that you're taking that don't help you be regular, that do help you be regular, are sort of got other things going on for them. So what they're saying is lots of water. Who would have guessed water being once again the key to fantastic things for us? So Drinking lots and lots of water is actually going to raise our vibrations to be able to release the density of emotions and physical traumas and impacts that we've been carrying that no longer serve us. And so holding on to a whole lot of shit actually doesn't serve us. And so if we're willing to let go of the past, we will be released. And that may look like a big releasing. If we drive through a very dense town and we collect all of their density, instead of us grounding, because we've got a big long journey and our teams are like, grab the energy from them quickly, and then now we're going to make you feel so ill, we're going to give you the runs or the shits just to release that quickly. And so often people will be like, it's so strange, I'm completely fine with my bowels at home and in my normal waking time, but when I start traveling, things go crazy, to the point where they're like, I don't even know if I can trust my body. My bowels don't seem to like the car. It's very interesting, isn't it? And also it is like when it reminds me of some of my friends with children, their newborn babies would only poo in the car and drives. And it would be always those explosive ones where it'd be like coming out of their onesies and stuff. So anyway, sorry if someone's feeling queasy listening to this conversation. It's all natural. And, you know, I guess these are the sort of conversations we won't be having on the new earth or in a fifth dimension, because your bodies don't poo, really. So, you know, there's that. Enjoy it. If you enjoy your bowel movements, cherish them, because who knows how long we've got for, you know, you to be having that sort of level of joy. So anyone who is concerned about it, really look at your diets, obviously, and also your emotions. Because whatever you're holding on to, it's not serving you. And sometimes we're so worried about our friends and families because they're not buying into the shift bullshit. They think it's crazy, and we're trying to keep loading their minds with what's going to happen next. And, you know, they're not taking any of it seriously, which really frustrates us, supposedly. And then, you know, we worry about them so much that we create lots of density. And then we find blocks in our systems one way or another. And so it's really good to be asking even these types of questions in sessions. And lots of people want me to help them understand, what if I try to do one of these sessions with these interns, Joe, and it doesn't work? You know, what's next? You know, what can I do? What if it doesn't work? And I say to them, it won't work if you don't trust them. If you don't trust your practitioner, it's not going to work, because you will not relax enough. You're basically putting yourself to sleep, even though you know fully that you're going to be very well aware of the whole session occurring. You're not going to be going anywhere. You will know exactly that your body has been talking the entire time, but you will not worry about it because you trust. You don't need to focus on what every little word has been said, because you trust the practitioner enough to do their job well, and for you to let your conscious mind be busy somewhere else. Which is relaxing. Be very, very busy relaxing. That's all you need to be doing in these sessions. It's very easy to relax when you can trust a practitioner. So if you can't talk to your practitioner about things really sensitive and embarrassing for you, I know lots of people harbor deeply into abortions and they feel so dreadful and terrified and like they're the devil themselves. And in reality, it's amazing life contracts, amazing life experiences, and it's all very well, which I know lots of people are very sensitive to, and they don't want to think that that's something that, has a lesson and a purpose and a significance, but it does. Everything does. And so lots of people will not want to discuss this, even though it's the biggest thing, the biggest hurt that they're carrying. So you have to be able to completely trust your subconscious. Yes, absolutely completely trust your subconscious, and also trust your practitioner. They're not going to judge you, not the good ones anyway. They will want to be able to help you recognize your pain and be able to ask the subconscious, tell us more about that. What was the lessons? What was the purpose? Why? Help us understand it from the bigger perspective. And the subconscious is like, yes, I love being useful. Thank you. And so it's the same with, being blocked with number twos. No one really wants to talk about it. Because it's a little bit embarrassing. What if it means I'm a bad person? And it's not the case at all. There is something that needs to be addressed. And, you know, it would be strange if a practitioner would be judging body functions. You know, you've got to find a right practitioner that's mature and that, and it's obviously not me. There's that. But what I lack in maturity, I'm abundant in with respect, and I really want to help everyone the best I can. And I know that that's not me, that is your subconscious. And so this is why I encourage everyone to have sessions. Interns are free. And this is a really good thing for you to be able to remember, is that your practitioners should be able to hear everything. Remember, Dolores Cannon herself noticed that she was almost mother confessor when people who were complete strangers to her would constantly share their full life stories, and really realized she wasn't judging them. She was completely understanding and sympathetic. And because of that perspective she had, and that demeanor that she had, and that love and compassion for those people, they told her everything. And it was part of their healing journey to share everything that they probably have never, ever shared with anyone. And when you're truly wanting to heal, and you're truly wanting to cleanse yourself and release everything that no longer serves you, you start talking about and thinking about certain things that have really impacted you in not such a, what you can perceive right now, positive way. And so, you know, we know I've done sessions with people who have been raped, and we know that I've done sessions with rapists. And, you know, you sort of assume, oh, we should be judging this situation with our very clever 3D judgmental minds. And we know from sessions we cannot. We cannot. You have to understand the life contracts before going into Mr. and Mrs. judgmental role. And so it's very easy for us to want to jump into judgment and assume certain things. And it's just very interesting. And it is also very interesting, many people who are here on this planet now who have done very big crimes against other, potentially this earth and other lifetimes and off planet, you know, very, very, very big, significant crimes against humanity or that being. And they're here now living amongst us, having these experiences too. They want to experience the opposite of what they created so they can have that lesson. They chose to be here. And it's very interesting when I have sessions with clients who were big part influences of destruction of planets and lots of other interesting choices. And so we don't judge them for their past choices. We appreciate them being here now to be of service now. And while they are having to deeply feel wounded for the crimes against humanity in this lifetime, and they will never be able to accept it in the 3D, because that's what they asked and needed for their life contracts, is to be profoundly wounded by people's choices and actions. It horrifies them. But they wanted to have this, what we would conceive torture, a perspective, because they never want to, they never want to forget the impacts from the other side. So it is like an imprint, right? So, you know, you can have a whole lifetime downloaded as an imprint and learn from it that way. But it's not until you personally feel the impact and the crimes against humanity that others have done for you to really understand how that feels and what that looks like from the other side. So super purposeful, super purposeful. And of course, we can't judge. None of the high dimensional beings are judging. They're like, well, that's an opportunity for lessons, experiences, and growth. Why would you ever judge that? Why would you think that was wrong or bad? And if you still are coming from a perspective point of something being bad or wrong, that is fine, but you will grow out of that. Because when you have the higher perspective, you understand that they are all protecting us. If there is something that is not for the good of all, it will be stopped. It will be protected. So they're evaluating every situation and every scenario. And if there is a good growing experience as the outcome, that's fantastic for them. Love it for them. why we are experiencing the free falling from the plane. There's still experiences to be had. There's still lessons to be had. And, that is very, very significant and very important. And we are only here having these experiences to be able to grow and expand. And while they sort of say it's so dense, there's not much room left for different expansions and experiences. When you're in this density, you're in this density. So the lessons and experiences are limited and growing in some regards, just in some aspects. And this is why we're feeling things really ramping up. And it's going to be very interesting how things unfold. And it's going to be very cool. It's very, very, very cool. And, I think lots of people are just thinking it's all going to just be horrible and hideous until the shift. And the reality is that's one perception. And the other perception is that it's going to be very interesting. And, people will see when you're in balance and neutral, how these are great opportunities for people to learn, to experience, to grow, and to start having some undeniable proof of certain things in certain situations. So all fantastic opportunities to grow. And this is very exciting. It's very, very, very exciting, definitely epic times. And so this is why we must be open to all and not have fixated assumptions of how things are going to flow as we are being prepared for closer evacuation and all of that stuff, right? So this is big concepts. This is big, it's sometimes very hard to be able to put all of the workings and on how everything needs to occur for it to come to its final conclusion. So much. There's just so much. And I feel like I could talk about every single aspect of it and, mansplain the crap out of it. But I don't think I need to. I think we all just need to be in balance and neutral for everything that could possibly come. So don't buy into future fears to be able to be a prepper for all of the things that could happen. Just go within and feel intuitively what you need to do. What do I need to do for today? What do I need to do for this week? And maybe what do I need to do for this month? And just simply ask yourself that and feel what your subconscious is saying. Remember, when we ask for things, we get given the answers. It's just how it works. But do we dismiss the answers? So if you just cleared a big piece of paper and write at the top of it, what should I do today? Or what should I do this week? Or what should I do this month? And allow yourself to see the empty paper, like your empty mind is not trying to sabotage it. And you're literally just setting up the intentions. What should I do this week? And then just imagine you've cleared your mind and you're allowing yourself to feel what is the most appropriate thing for you to do this week. And just sense into it, feel into it. What are they saying to you? What are they giving you the senses to do? And so they may just sort of start off saying, be happy, find joy. Okay, great, thank you. What else? And you can just start doing a shopping list and just feel into it. When we start sort of connecting in with our teams, they're not going to give us big monologues of stuff because they just want to give you small words. Usually it's love first. Because they want you to know you're safe. That's a really big thing. They want you to drop the fear and worry of not being safe. It's not possible that you can't be safe. Even if you do some reckless things, they're still watching you going, that's an interesting choice. Good luck with that. But they'll still guide you and they'll still protect you. And if you're trying to make certain exit points that aren't yours, they're no dummies. So there's that. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. The last thing they want me to say is that your meridian lines, so your bodies are really amazing machines, right? We've discussed this many times. And that joke, pull granddad's finger or whatever, pull my finger. That joke represents something, right? So the joke is pull my finger and I'll do a fart, right? So, fun times. So when we are focused and obsessed about not pulling and not releasing, And then instead of taking all of those supplements and products that are supposed to do what our bodies should be able to do and our minds should be able to do naturally, if we start massaging the index finger, which is connected to the large intestine meridian, if we can start pulling this just gently and kind of, pulling our finger and allowing the releasing, you will notice quite quickly how you will start feeling certain sensations. So be careful. And this is a really good thing for lots of parents. I mean, if humanity was about if professional industries were about supporting and empowering humanity, they'd be telling that to all the parents with gassy, windy children, right? But no, this is a great opportunity for them to start pumping them full of other things. So if you massage your children's fingers and massaged around the intestines to be able to encourage and stimulate the movements and the energy fields, because remember, our hands are full of energy. And so when we're massaging our baby's tummies in the right order, in the right direction, you're going to be encouraging to digest. Lots of babies do not want to digest being here. They're allergic to being here, and they're actually quite frankly pissed off that they chose to do it now that they remember this density. But it's not about the choices of the parents. I love the parents, of course, right? So it's very interesting what the babies are doing and what they have always been doing and how we've been diagnosing that for whatever reason. So really interesting. So if you are interested in how to manage and love your bodies, learning about certain meridian lines and connections to the body it could be a really lovely, intimate way for you to start respecting the body and understanding the body. And so often people are like, I've got, 50 million billion lifetimes here, Joe. How do I know which one's impacting me? And I say, interns are free. Have a session. They will tell you exactly what's the most biggest impact that's going on for your lives. But in all sincerity, trying to find balance now, because you're all impacted with other lifetimes. And so what your life is presenting to you now is great information and hints and clues about what you need to release and balance and have neutral in and all that fun stuff. So interesting times and very exciting times indeed. So when you're noticing that the 3D bodies are starting to really slow down to the point of them nearly shutting down, that can be a really scary, confusing time. And this is common for lots of people, and they are confused because they are assuming that this would only be certain responses that, say, the inoculated people would get. And so the unimmunized people are finding that they're starting to have some almost similar traits to what could be considered a reaction to the inoculations. This is really deeply confusing them, and this is leading them to jump into conclusions about the vaccines shedding and that they have been poisoned by others, or it's 5G radiation or some other thing that scares them. And remembering that when the bodies are being prepared to shut down, they don't want it to be a big, abrupt switching over. They want it to be a subtle thing. And so if you've got any confusions or worries or concerns about it, this is a really sincerely fantastic time to go to practitioners, or write your pieces of paper out, clear out the noise in your room or your house, find somewhere that gives you inner peace to be able to just feel into yourself. Your teams would freaking love jazz hands for you to connect in with them directly. The practitioners in these sessions are stepping stones, but ultimately they want you to have profound connection to you. And so they're not judging you if you need a few sessions to kind of get you that bridge and that leap, but it's very capable of you to be able to connect in with them directly without any other stepping stones now. They've told you so many times and have guided you so many times. You've been marinated in their higher frequency when you listen to their sessions. every time someone wants to know, why am I so drawn to, to me and this work? And the subconsciouses are like, you're drawn to me and my work. I'm speaking through this vehicle. And so, I'm just the messenger. I'm literally just the middle man or woman or girl. And that is all cool and fine. But what you're really recognizing in these sessions is your teams. And they are fantastic. And it's incredible considering how many of you are listening and how many of them are supporting. And so while it may just sound like one voices or two voices when we're doing sessions, there is lots of representation in the informations, because they're representing and they're reaching out to all of you. They very much know when there is a public session versus a private session. And they know what information you all need to hear. And it is incredible. And we honor them incredibly, because they have got this big balance between what we should be hearing right now and what would be poison to us, and what will empower us versus freak us out. There's nothing that can freak us out. We've heard the biggest stuff, right? When we have to accept at some point we're going to leave this body. We always knew we'd leave this body, right? We can't go to heaven with the body, right? Like, we all know that you leave the body behind. We've been to enough funerals to see the body does not go with them, right? So there is a soul separation. And this is the same, but we don't die as those who we have seen. But then, of course, now, since the shift, some of those people who you've attended funerals have shifted and are waiting and will be on the new earth. Absolutely. So it gets a bit confusing, because I've had many sessions where I'm asking, did they die? Have they gone back to source? And it's like, I haven't died. I haven't died. I'm waiting on the shift. I just shifted earlier. And so there's that. It's so interesting. It's just so interesting what we can explore and discover on these sessions. And I love them. And that I'm a little bit addicted to being a huge advocate of everyone getting sessions for themselves, because they're so ridiculously profound. I know that many people have had a few sessions in the past, and they, and it was sort of mediocre experiences for them. It kind of, highlighted a few of their basic sort of struggles at that time, and then they sort of assumed that was sort of it. The more, you're an onion, right? So the more sessions you do, the more to the core you get. And the more activated you get into being able to connect in with them and be able to channel them and to be able to have direct conversations with them. So, there's that, but it's work, and you've got to be committed into evolving and improving yourself, and stop with the self-doubt and the worries. I still see so many people freak out because they're having an upgrade, and they think that they're getting like an energy attack or be a victim to a higher frequency, when it really is either your nana is coming to support you and encourage you, you're getting the physical upgrade, but because you're still in abundance of fear, you always misconfuse your upgrades or your improvements or, profound something positive, you always flip into a real negative. So if you see anyone or hear anyone talking about being vulnerable victims to energy attacks or something like that, they're really confused. So they understand that their teams are protecting them. So you're basically just saying, no, I don't believe that my subconscious is doing a good enough job, and I want to speak to its manager. Actually, I mean, really, I feel like we've discussed so much of this in sessions, and right now, everyone's going through a lot of pressure as they're having to really release everything that no longer serves them. This is the time to do it. We don't actually have much time to release this sort of stuff. And so while everyone's still being distracted by certain things, you're not actually getting to have that free mind, to have that blank piece of paper, to just sit with self and just feel into their messages. Because that's a super important thing to do. And everyone is being told by their subconsciouses, you need to spend more time with self. You're so distracted with other stuff. Even supporting other people, you are distracting yourself from self. And so, figure out when's the best time of the day for you, when you can have the most uninterrupted time. They're not even asking for hours on length either. They're asking sort of for smaller amounts of time to sort of start building up your concentration. Actually, it's more like your disconnect to stop to concentrate and focus on other things and have a discipline of just being in that balance and neutral, being open, imagining your mind just being open. You're not worried about what you're going to have for lunch tomorrow or any of that sort of stuff. You're just allowing yourself to be open to any senses of information or messages that they have for you. It's really important. It's really, really, really important. Okay, anyway, sorry. Whoever needed to hear that, with much love. I hope you can apply it and start seeing the results of what I'm trying to be saying. What I've been trying to say to you is that you're very, very, very capable and very, very capable of being able to connect in with them. So let's see how much empowerment you'll do for yourselves as you are starting to really honor yourself, your minds and your bodies. And remember that water is fantastic, and it is truly a powerhouse you all deserve.